Hello and welcome to another whiskey review with me, Marty Macaulay. I just noticed that there's that bit of dust on top of this. More than a little. Oops. I'm going to have I've whiskey everywhere about the place, that's the truth. But I have a whiskey cabinet here, and I think I'm going to have to pull everything off it and give it a wipe down. It's rammed with stuff, rammed with it. So yeah, I think we'll just take it down when we get a minute. Still working. I'm away again tomorrow to another trip away. I'm working again in Scotland, over in Scotland. So tomorrow night I will be in the Whiskey Experience, away up near the castle in Edinburgh. Nice place. The tour's alright. The tour's okay. Could do with a little bit. It's a bit impersonal in some ways, and they do a very weird thing where they talk about the various regions of Scotland, and they go boom, 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 boom. Pick three. Well, why are you telling me about all the other ones, and then not letting me do the whole lot of them? Seems very weird. But anyway, that's what they do. Whiskey regions. I have to say my favourite is the plucky little underdog. The whiskey regions, if you're not sure what they are, it's the Highlands, the Islands. Depends on what way you want to do it. Highlands, Lowlands, Islands, Speyside, Islay, and then the plucky little underdog, the former champion of the world. Sounds so. I want to go into sort of Bruce, what's his name? You know, the guy that does the ring announcing for Madison Square Garden. The undisputed, undefeated heavyweight champion of the world. You know that guy. Kind of like that. I want to go and do that with him because Campbeltown. Just back, me and Justin went and did a couple of days in Campbeltown. A bit of filming and so on and so forth. You'll be able to catch that up on the Irish Whiskey Review on the channel, where we went and did a few bits and pieces around there and so on. I'm just going to move that out of the way. I didn't realise that that's actually in front and the bottom. Now, the Campbeltown, if you don't know, formerly it's had about 36 distilleries. I've read a couple of different ones. It's like 36 distilleries in it. It's tiny. Its population's like 4,000 now, something like that, 4,000 or 5,000. And it's had these distilleries going on, off and on. I think at one point it had like 25 working distilleries at one point. It was the powerhouse. Before Speyside took over, it was the powerhouse of whiskey production. Tiny little place. Wonderful little place. Beautiful. I mean, the harbour, when the sun hits the harbour, it's just gorgeous. Gorgeous thing. But there's been one distillery that's kept going. It's Springbank, and everyone knows about Springbank. If you don't know about Springbank and you profess to know about Scotch whisky and don't know about Springbank, you don't know about Scotch whisky. It's a fabulous place, but the place was in danger of losing its regionality because it was down to 2 distilleries. So what they did was they opened up another one and argued their case, and they distill a little bit there every year. They still distill at Springbank, and then when they've enough distilled at Springbank these days, you can't get your hands on it. Once they've done that, they move across and they go to this place. It's a very weird thing. This is Kilkerran whiskey. It's distilled at the Glengyle distillery because it's an ownership debate. Yeah, it's a very weird thing. I'm not bothering getting into it. It just is. It's Springbank is has been going continuously since 1860 something. But they've opened this place up again, and you'll see the rather, well, if you go there, this is the church tower, and it's enormous. It's a very sort of phallic thing, you know. It's quite like, oh, look at my massive church tower. It kind of looks like that, if you know what I mean. But yeah, Mitchell's Glengyle Limited are very proud to be continuing and adding to the great Campbeltown distilling tradition, and the choice of name reflects that. Kilkerran is derived from the Gaelic Cian Loch Kilkerran, which is the name of the original settlement where St Kieran had his religious cell and Campbeltown now stands. Kilkerran is thought to be a suitable name for a new Campbeltown malt, since it was unusual for the old Campbeltown distilleries to be called after a glen, a custom more usually associated with the Speyside regions. Yeah. It's even slightly more unusual is the fact that it's everywhere you go in Campbeltown, there's just some relation to whiskey, and yet they are down to these 3 pretty small little distilleries. I'd love to see some of the big guys just say, you know something, we can make a bit of money at this. We can open 3 distilleries, boom, 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 open them up again, get them going. Now there are the Lost Distilleries project, which we did a show. It's superb stuff in Dalruin. I thought it was really, really nice. But there are 2 new distilleries coming out in Campbeltown. But this is from the same guys who do Springbank. And Kilkerran is their peated whiskey made at the Glengyle distillery, done by the guys at Springbank to recreate. Like, it's a bit confusing. Well, you know that. But Kilkerran is their peated, and this is the heavily peated. So now it's 58.6%. So it packs a bit of a punch. Non-chill filtered, and no colouring. So that's the body. First thing hits you, it's nearly 60% alcohol. That's the first thing that hits you. I mean, I would strongly recommend a little bit of a sip of this and then figure out your water content. It's just boom, straight in your mouth, or straight on your nose. But it's quite fresh. Lots of phenols coming in there, lots of smokiness and fresh bonfire, couple of little barbecue notes, but there's also fresh cut hay, lots of that really sort of fresh cut summery hay nose to it, and a little bit of marmalade actually. Yeah, a little bit of marmalade. So you're getting these sort of 3 notes. I mean, there's massive peat coming off this, lots of smoke, but it's also that fresh cut grass and also like marmalade. Now, well, that's a little bit of a kick. It's very strong in alcohol. So basically at the cask strength level that's at, it's just and there's no subtlety to it. It doesn't really arrive that well. You can't really get too many of the complexity. The mouthfeel is actually quite good, but the alcohol is just too strong. So I'm going to put in that little amount. As soon as you put in that water, you see the amount of oils in that, all that sort of viscosity. And I'm putting in a couple of teaspoons of water in this, because it takes it really does. you think about this, right? It's about almost 50% stronger than your 40% bottlings. 40%, lots of people will tell you that 40%, even at that, sometimes a little bit of water is a good thing. And they're right, you know, some of them do take that. But when it's almost 50% stronger, it really sort of automatically tells you need to be watering it down a little bit. And possibly quite a lot. Now, even at that, you're still getting a fairly heavy viscosity there. Automatically, the peat is dumping down a little bit. It's like someone has put a wet towel over the top of the fire, and it sort of embers down a little bit. You're getting smoke. The marmalade's moved over to being more citrusy and fresh citrus. So it's kind of done what you would think it was going to do. So it's kind of moved from heavy notes to being lighter and opened up and moved across and working with stuff, you know. The hay has become sounds daft. It's become like silage. It's become sort of wetter hay. I don't necessarily mean fresh cut grass. I mean sort of wet hay. Yeah, it sounds. It's almost as if someone's put water on top of what I said before, which is exactly what I've done, but it's not necessarily what you would expect. And a little bit of tree bark. Yeah, a little bit of like someone stripped a bit of bark off a tree. Still loads of smoke there, but not the same, nothing like what it was. I took the couple of tablespoons of water of this have changed this dramatically, and in some ways for the better and in some ways worse. It's kind of took the mouthfeel to a place I'm not necessarily liking that much. It's got a little sharpness to it that's coming from the peat that's not that pleasant. But what it's done is it's dampened down the peat and allowed some of the other flavours to come up, and they're not that good. It's nice enough, but I wouldn't go mad about this in any way, shape or form. My girlfriend, she loves this. She's about cute as a button and loves heavily peated. I mean, big kick in your face malts like this. She loves this. I'm not just as keen, to be quite honest with you. I don't think it's not necessarily. There's no balance to it, and when it's got no balance to it, it's kind of hard to work with it. And some people have asked me what they mean when something's balanced. Well, when something's balanced, basically what it means is it's not being dominated too much by one thing or the other. And if this is strong, this will be strong, and it meets somewhere in the middle. Normally, with balance, I find that it needs to have that richness and mouthfeel to give it. Otherwise, if it's thin and watery, it can't be balanced because it sort of juxtaposes everything. And this kind of has no balance to it at all. I know that sounds really daft, but when you've got something like a Lafroig, you wouldn't say it's balanced, but it all kicks you in the face. It's all about punching you in the mouth. And when it's all like that, then it's kind of got its own balance. This, on the other hand, it just kind of disjointed. It's in the mouth. It's not. It's okay, but it doesn't really necessarily work. Taste-wise, a little bit of nuttiness. Again, moved up to citrus peel, but it's kind of where you kind of want it to go. No, excuse me. Where you kind of want it to go, it just doesn't do it. The finish is not great, and I'm sorry, but Kilkerran's just, out of probably all of the Campbeltown stuff, it's probably my least favourite, if I'm honest. This just doesn't really work for me at all. If I'm going to give it a mark, I'll give it, again, probably about 7 out of 10. It's for some people they'll like this. I mean, my girlfriend Julie, she raves about it. She loves it. Just doesn't put any water in it. Away she goes. I just it doesn't really work for me, if I'm honest. It's not balanced. It's got kind of strange notes that appear in it after you leave it a little while. It just don't really work. At full strength, it has an appeal, but it's too strong. And then you put a drop of water in it, it takes it down. And some people will go, oh no, but you put 2 teaspoons in it and it doesn't work. I've tried this with 1, didn't really work. Tried it with 2, still doesn't really work. Tried it at 3, ruined it. I'll tell you what, I'll try it again. I'll try it again with another teaspoon of water in it, just to see. But I know what I'm doing right. I've already worked with it. You can see how much of it we've worked with over the last year. The nose is pretty much gone. Quick woody note disappears. So I've worked with this. Can't really get anywhere with it. Don't think it's up to much, to be honest. 7 out of 10. I do apologise, Julie. I know you love it, but no, it's not. It's not really for me, Kilkerran. Heavily peated. I think it's trying too much to be something that it's not, and it doesn't really work. So, without further ado, bye bye. Right, guys, stay safe and talk to you again soon.